And when it comes to AI, that's changing a lot recently. I feel like at least, you know, when I don't if you don't know, that's cool, but when did AI first get released, like, to the, public for use?
So, I mean, let's go through this here. So, I mean,
Yeah, that'd
like
be
the
cool.
term artificial intelligence, like dates back to like the 1950s. There's a bunch of researchers at Dartmouth, and they're looking for a term for this new emerging field. And I wrote about this recently because I was very curious myself. And and AI was kind of the one that came up on top. The 1950s were a time of science, and there was a time of like a lot of we were the Americans were racing against the Soviets at that time. Science was kind of at the forefront. The space race was just beginning. And so this whole futuristic thought of artificial intelligence stayed in the public consciousness. There were some people that thought we would have had, artificial intelligence within 10 years. That obviously didn't happen. And so what has happened over the last 70 years is this concept of AI winters. There's all of this hype about AI, and then it doesn't transpire, and then all of a sudden, like, nobody wants to be in the field. The last one we kind of went through was in the early 2010s. You know, in the aughts, like, was not a good time to be in the world of AI. Like, there's not a very popular place. Like, even things, a lot of the technologies we now use today were thought to kind of be sort of afterthoughts, neural networks, things like that, that language models are based on. They're like, yeah, that's never actually going to work. It did. And there are certain things that led to that. Um, but an apology. This is the teacher and me giving a history
Good.
lesson
Keep
here, Nick.
going. Keep going. I like it. Keep going.
um, you know, the AI as we know it today probably would have started with OpenAI. So OpenAI was a research group that was founded in 2015, 2016, somewhere around there. They were looking at a whole bunch. They were looking at robots and all this other stuff. And, supposedly GPT-1 was 2018 or something when they built that. GPT-1, if you've heard of ChatGPT, this was like kind of the first model of this. It was built off of Twilight fan fiction. Like literally,
Really?
the corpus of information it had was basically Twilight fan fiction and some other stuff like that. So it wasn't very good. I think it was like 8 months later, something GPT-2 came out that was sort of good. It really started GPT-3, which would have been about 2020 or so. Um, so this model existed, but it was a little bit janky. Like it was hard to access. There's a lot of waiting lists and things like that. But honestly, but these things existed. They had Dolly come out, which is a way to generate images. All this happened. But then fast forward to November 2022, they took the existing GPT the 3 Da Vinci model was what it, no was it Da Vinci? Yeah, I think it started with a D. I think it was Da Vinci, um, and they took that model and they put a new wrapper on it, which was what became ChatGPT.
Okay.
And I was using a GPT-3. Other people were using it. Were amazed by it, but that was like the first time it kind of got into the public's hands, and they
Mhm.
made it sort of easy to access. You didn't have to deal with APIs. You didn't have to deal with the playground that they had set up. Any of this kind of stuff. It was a design change that they made. So that would have been November 2022. And really, if you ask most people now, like the wave that we're on now for the last almost 3 years, that's pretty much when it started.